All right, listener, welcome back. Are you ready for a deep dive,
Into a principle that you've probably heard of.
but maybe you haven't really fully wrapped your head around
That's right.
the Pareto principle,
Yeah.
or as many know it?
The 80-20 rule.
Exactly.
That 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts thing.
Right.
It's like a work less, achieve more.
Yep.
Dream come true. But we've got a stack of sources here that suggest it's maybe not so simple.
It's not quite as cut and dried as that.
Right. So how did this whole thing even get started? Like, where did this idea come from?
Well, way back in the early 1900s, there was this Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, and he was looking at land ownership in Italy.
Okay.
And he noticed this interesting pattern.
Okay.
That a small number of people, like 20% of the population, owned a large proportion of the land, like 80%.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so that observation, that's really the seed of the Pareto principle. Okay, so it started with land ownership, but then it sort of like exploded and became this universal thing.
Exactly. It's become this like catch-all principle.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, for business, for personal development, you name it.
It is. And it's this promise of like maximizing output with minimal effort.
Right.
I think that's why it's so appealing, right?
Yeah.
But one of our sources,
Okay.
Catamania, talked about this feeling of almost like discomfort when they started digging into like the criticisms,
critiques, yeah,
of the Pareto principle.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like we're so attached to this idea of like a shortcut to success that we almost don't want to believe it might be flawed.
That's a good point. We kind of like cling to it.
We do.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why we're doing this deep dive today.
Exactly.
Because the truth is that 80-20 ratio, it's not like this unbreakable law.
Yeah.
It's more of an observation.
Yeah, a starting point.
So not like a magic formula, but like a lens maybe.
Yeah, a lens to look through, to view things. And sometimes that lens can get a little blurry.
How so?
Well, one thing that's really important to remember is that those ratios themselves, the 80 and the 20, they're not fixed.
Okay.
They can vary wildly.
Really?
Yeah, depending on what you're looking at, it might be closer to like 991.
Wow.
Or even 955.
Yeah. Not always that nice, neat split that we always hear about.
Yeah, not always.
What's so interesting to me is that it seems like context is really key here.
Yeah, context is huge.
The article Beyond the Pareto Principle really digs into that.
It does, and it makes this point that the relationship between cause and effect, it's not static.
Okay.
It's fluid.
I like that.
It shifts depending on the situation.
So like you could have one business where a handful of clients are bringing in like most of the revenue.
Right.
But then another business where it's way more evenly distributed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to see now why just like blindly applying this 80-20 rule could actually be kind of dangerous.
Absolutely, yeah. It can lead you down the wrong path.
But let's get like down to the nitty-gritty.
Right.
When does this actually work in the real world and when does it fall apart?
Okay, let's look at an example from one of our sources.
Okay.
A guy named Sid Savara. He's a freelancer.
Right.
And he wrote this piece called The Problem with the Pareto Principle.
Oh, I remember reading that one.
Yeah, and he talks about how at first glance, his income seemed to fit the 80-20 mold. You know, a few big clients bringing in most of the money.
Right, right.
Ooh,
but there's always a but, right?
There is.
I was reading this and thinking like, if he just focused on those big clients, he would have totally missed out on other opportunities.
You're exactly right. Those smaller clients, they might not have been as lucrative individually, but they didn't require as much time, and they had this potential to grow.
Right, so it's not just about the output, like how much you're making, but the input, the effort.
Exactly. It's about the efficiency.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And there's another point he makes that I think is really important.
Okay.
If you're already working effectively, the Pareto principle might not even apply.
Because
sometimes those tasks that don't seem directly profitable, like building relationships, honing your skills, just being really good at communicating with clients, those are actually the foundation for long-term success.
They are.
Yeah.
It's like those seemingly less important things actually are what create the environment for those big wins to happen.
They create the conditions for success.
So we're starting to see like some cracks in this infallible principle.
Yeah, it's not as straightforward as it might seem at first glance.
So does that mean like we just throw the whole thing out?
I don't think so. Hold on.
Okay.
Before we do that.
Okay.
There are some people who argue that the Pareto principle isn't wrong.
Okay.
It's just often misapplied.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so this article, Why the 80-20 Rule is Wrong, it talks about this idea of going for the A+.
Okay, I've never heard that. What does that mean?
Well, instead of just focusing on those vital few things,
Right.
they're saying that strategically over-investing in certain areas can lead to extraordinary results.
So, like, not just settling for good enough,
Right.
but, like, pushing for exceptional in certain areas.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And their example is Jeff Bezos leaving his cushy Wall Street job to start an online bookstore back in 1994.
I mean, who could have predicted Amazon would become what it is today?
Nobody.
It's such a good example of taking risks and trusting your gut.
It really is. It challenges the idea that we should always focus on what's worked in the past.
Right.
Sometimes you got to look ahead.
Yeah.
And invest in the future.
Invest in that future that you want to create.
Exactly.
Even if it seems kind of crazy.
Even if it doesn't fit the traditional model.
You know what this is making me realize?
What's that?
The Pareto principle, it's not a be-all, end-all solution.
I agree.
It's a tool. It's one of many tools.
Right. It's a way of thinking.
A way of understanding the world.
Yeah.
But it's not the only way.
And like any tool, it has its strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
We need to use it thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Not blindly.
Not blindly, okay.
And especially when dealing with something as complex as human behavior.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
The human element.
The human element.
That's a whole other thing.
It is.
Because if you're just looking at the numbers.
Right.
And you're using the Pareto principle just based on numbers.
Yeah.
You're going to miss all those like social and emotional factors.
Yeah, the things that really drive our decisions.
That drive our decisions, right?
Exactly.
Academia brings up this really good point.
Okay.
Imagine you're using the Pareto principle.
Okay.
To assess like employee performance.
Right.
And you find that one employee based purely on like sales figures.
Got it.
They fall into that like trivial mini category. But what if they have these incredible client relationships that are actually bringing in new business?
Right.
Something that's not going to show up on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, you can't just let them go.
Exactly. You can't just be like, oh, well, the numbers say this.
Yeah, the numbers don't tell the whole story.
There's so much more to the equation.
There is.
And that's where I think we need to talk about this thing called the endowment effect.
The endowment effect.
When the 80-20 rule fails, talks about this.
It does. It's a really interesting concept.
Okay, I'll be honest. I don't really know what that is.
Okay, so basically the endowment effect.
Okay.
It means we tend to place a higher value on things that we own.
Okay.
Even if that ownership is totally arbitrary.
Interesting.
Yeah, it kind of throws a wrench into that purely rational Pareto analysis because it introduces this emotional bias.
So, like, basically our feelings about things can cloud our judgment.
Yeah.
We might be clinging to something that logically we should just let go of.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And sometimes those irrational attachments can actually lead to really valuable outcomes. It's a reminder that human behavior, it's not always predictable or easily quantifiable.
Right.
And it's definitely not always rational.
This is making me think, does the Pareto principle actually clash with the idea of individual freedom?
That's a good question. You're on to something there.
Because if we're only doing what's like universally preferred, doesn't that limit our individual choices?
You're getting at a really important issue that a philosopher and economist named Amartya Sen has actually explored in depth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's this study from core.ac.uk that highlights his research.
Okay.
And he argues that the Pareto principle in its purest form can actually conflict with even the most basic concept of liberalism. Because if we're only prioritizing actions that everyone agrees on, then that really limits individual choice.
Right. Like, what if I want to do something that you don't want to do? Should I not be allowed to do it?
That's the question.
Yeah.
And Sen uses this really simple example.
Okay.
Two friends deciding whether to read a controversial book.
Okay.
One friend might really want to read it. The other might object to it.
Yeah.
And in a purely Paretian world, nobody gets to read the book because there's no unanimous agreement.
Even though one person might get a lot out of it.
Exactly.
That seems kind of restrictive.
Yeah, it highlights the paradox.
Yeah.
And Sen actually takes it even further.
Okay.
He argues that catering to one person's preference might actually infringe on another person's freedom.
Wow.
He paints this picture of a society where nobody's free to read what they want if someone else objects.
That's a far cry from, like, individual liberty.
Yeah, is.
This deep dive is really like blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to be talking about like productivity hacks.
Right.
And now we're talking about philosophy and freedom of choice.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It is.
That's the thing about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You never know where they're going to take you.
No kidding. And the Pareto principle, it's got a lot more to it than meets the eye.
It really does.
It's like the more we learn, the more questions we have.
That's how it should be, right?
Especially about the ethics of it all.
The ethics are really important.
It seems like applying the Pareto principle too rigidly could make us overlook some really important considerations.
Absolutely. Things like fairness, social responsibility, environmental concerns, all these things that go beyond just individual preferences.
It's like what's good for one person might not be good for everyone.
Exactly.
Sin's work really drives this home.
It does.
With this example, he says if we strictly apply the Pareto principle, and one person in a society didn't like Rembrandt, and everyone else was indifferent, we would have to destroy all Rembrandts.
It's a dramatic example.
It is, but it makes the point.
It does.
Maximizing individual preferences doesn't always lead to the best outcome for society as a whole.
Yeah. Absolutely. We need to think about the bigger picture.
We do. I'm starting to think we need like a Pareto principle for the Pareto principle.
A meta-Pareto principle.
Yeah. Like how do we figure out when to use it?
Yeah. When is it useful and when do we need to look beyond it?
Right. Because it's clearly a useful tool sometimes.
It is.
But other times it feels like it could lead us down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we need a way to figure out when to apply it.
I like that. Maybe that's a topic for another deep dive.
That's a great idea.
But for now, I think we're doing a good job of uncovering
I hope so.
the complexities of this seemingly simple principle.
It's definitely more complex than it seems.
It is.
Yeah.
Listeners, stay with us. We're just getting started.
We've got a lot more to uncover. Yeah, it's a really powerful point. You know, one person's dislike shouldn't determine the fate of a whole artist's work.
Right, like we can't just cater to individual preferences all the time.
Exactly. We need to think about those shared values, those things that make for a good society.
A thriving society.
And just society.
Okay, so it sounds like blindly following any principle, even one that seems logical, can have some pretty like absurd, even harmful consequences.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to this idea of like recognizing the limits of any one principle.
Right. So the Pareto principle, it's not a magic bullet.
No, it's not.
It's a tool for thinking, but it can't capture everything.
It can't capture the full complexity of like human behavior or societal needs or those ethical considerations that we've been talking about.
Yeah. So if we're not supposed to just apply this rule to everything, how do we use it wisely?
That's a great question. And I think it really depends on what we're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Like, what are our goals?
Yeah.
One area where I think the Pareto principle can be really insightful is in business.
Okay.
Especially when you're analyzing data to identify trends and optimize resources.
Right. Like figuring out which products are making the most money.
Exactly. Or which marketing strategies are really working.
Or like which customers are the most valuable.
Right. Pareto analysis can help you pinpoint those areas where you're likely to have the biggest impact.
Okay, so it can help businesses focus on those vital few things.
The things that are driving the majority of their results.
But even in a business context, we have to be mindful of those blind spots, right?
Absolutely.
Not just chasing profit at the expense of everything else.
Right.
Or neglecting those seemingly trivial tasks that actually build long-term success.
Yeah, those things are still important.
And that's where that human element comes back into play, right?
It does. Data analysis is important, but it's not the whole story.
It's only part of the picture.
Yeah. Good leaders understand that things like a positive work environment, nurturing talent, building strong relationships.
Those are all important.
They're essential for sustainable growth.
Even if they don't show up in a spreadsheet?
Exactly.
It's like there's this tension between the analytical and the human.
There is.
The quantifiable and the qualitative.
I think that's a great way to put it.
And navigating that tension is key. Not just in business, but in life in general.
In all aspects of life.
So I guess one of the big takeaways from this deep dive is that the Pareto principle is a good lens.
It is.
But not the whole picture.
Right. It can highlight those key areas to focus on.
But it shouldn't make us forget about context.
Or human values.
Or those ethical considerations that shape our choices.
I agree completely. It's a tool for thought, not a rule to dictate every decision.
Right. We need to use it with a critical eye.
Yeah.
Recognizing its strengths and its limitations.
Exactly.
This is so interesting. When we started this deep dive, I thought we were going to be talking about efficiency and productivity.
Right. It seemed pretty straightforward.
It did. And now we're talking about freedom.
Ethics.
The nature of values.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. It's like the rabbit hole just keeps going deeper.
Yeah, that's what makes this principle so fascinating.
It does.
It seems so simple on the surface, but it just opens up all these questions.
About human behavior, societal values.
The choices we make.
Yeah, individually and collectively.
It's really quite profound.
And speaking of choices, one of the things that's really sticking with me is this idea of going for the A+.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It challenges us to think beyond just optimizing those vital few things.
Right.
And consider, like, strategically over-investing in certain areas.
Yeah, even if they don't seem like the obvious choice.
Right. It suggests that sometimes those real breakthroughs come from pushing beyond what's expected.
Yeah, from putting your heart and soul into something you really believe in.
Instead of just playing it safe and sticking to what's worked in the past.
Yeah.
It's like, what if I gave this 110%?
And what if I went all in?
What if I went all in on this crazy idea?
Yeah, it takes courage.
Vision.
A willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
It makes me wonder how often we're limiting ourselves without even realizing it.
That's a good point.
Like maybe we're so focused on those vital few that we're missing out on those trivial many activities.
That could actually spark some creativity. Yeah, or even just a sense of joy and fulfillment.
Right, like we can get so caught up in optimizing and streamlining.
Yeah, we can become obsessed with efficiency.
That we forget about the things that actually make life worth living.
That make life rich and meaningful.
So we need to find a balance, right?
I think so.
Between maximizing efficiency and embracing those things that might not have an immediate payoff.
Right.
But that contribute to a more well-rounded life.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real key to using the Pareto principle wisely.
Okay, so.
It's not about finding a magic formula.
Right.
It's about understanding the trade-offs.
Okay.
Sometimes it makes sense to focus on the vital few.
Right.
But other times it's worth investing in those things that might not seem impactful right away.
Yeah, but that feed our souls.
Expand our horizons.
Bring us joy.
Exactly.
It's like the Pareto principle is a tool for navigating the complexity of life.
Yeah, a tool for making sense of things.
But it's up to us to decide how and when to use it.
And to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right? What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. Ultimately, it's about finding what resonates with you.
What aligns with our values.
And what helps you create the kind of life you want to live.
You know, it's funny. We started this deep dive thinking we were going to talk about efficiency and productivity.
Right.
And we ended up going on this journey through philosophy and ethics.
Yeah, we even touched on art history a little bit.
I know. It's crazy how something like the 80-20 rule can lead to such a complex discussion.
It really is. It just shows you that there's always more to learn.
Even about things we think we already understand.
Exactly.
One thing that's really stuck with me is that tension between the analytical side of the Pareto principle,
the focus on data,
optimization, and then that human side.
Right, the values,
the relationships,
those intangible things.
The things that make life meaningful.
Exactly. It's a tension that we see everywhere, isn't it?
It is like logic versus intuition.
Right.
Efficiency versus enjoyment.
Yeah, planning versus spontaneity.
It's everywhere.
It's a constant balancing act.
This deep dive has really shown me that it's important not to get too caught up in any one way of thinking. It's about recognizing that there are many perspectives.
Many approaches.
And what works in one situation might not work in another.
Absolutely.
That's where critical thinking is so important.
It is.
It's about being able to step back and assess the situation.
And choose the best tools and strategies for that specific situation.
Not just blindly following a rule.
Right.
We've talked a lot about the potential downsides of the Pareto principle.
Yeah, the pitfalls.
But are there any areas where you think it's actually really useful?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like essential even?
I think decision-making is a big one.
Okay.
Especially when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Like when you have a to-do list a mile long?
Exactly. Or you're trying to choose between a bunch of different options.
Right. And you don't know where to start.
Right. The Pareto principle can help you cut through all that noise.
Okay.
And focus on the choices that are likely to have the biggest impact.
So you're saying it can help us prioritize?
Yeah, delegate.
And not get bogged down in those little things.
Exactly. It can help us focus on what really matters.
It's like a simplification tool.
Yeah, a way to focus your time and energy.
On the things that are most important.
It can be applied to so many different decisions.
Work life.
How you spend your free time.
It's like a mental decluttering tool.
I like that.
Creating space for the things that are truly important.
Creating space for clarity, intentionality, and joy.
You know, one of the things I've really gotten out of this deep dive is this appreciation for questioning. Questioning assumptions.
Yeah.
Questioning conventional wisdom.
Questioning everything.
Even questioning the Pareto principle itself.
That's the key.
It's so important to be able to, think critically.
Especially in a world where we're bombarded with information.
It's like, how do we know what to believe?
How do we sort through all the noise?
How do we know what's true and what's not?
Right. We need to be able to discern truth from falsehood, evidence from opinion.
Yeah.
And recognize that there's rarely a simple answer to any complex question.
And maybe that's the ultimate lesson here.
Maybe it is.
The Pareto principle. It's not a guarantee.
It's not a silver bullet.
It's a tool.
It's one tool among many.
That can help us understand the world.
And make better decisions.
But only if we use it wisely.
Thoughtfully.
And with a healthy dose of skepticism.
And always with an awareness of that broader context.
Your human element.
And those ethical considerations that shape the world we want to live in.
The world we want to create.
Exactly.
So listener, as you go about your day, think about this. What are your vital few?
And what are those seemingly trivial many activities that might actually be more valuable than you realize?
And maybe even more importantly, what are those things that might not fit neatly into an 80-20 analysis?
But that bring meaning and joy and purpose to your life?
Those are some good questions to ponder.
They are.
I feel like we could talk about this for hours.
Me too.
Maybe we'll have to revisit this in a future deep dive.
I'd love to. There's always more to explore.
More to learn.
And more to question.
This whole conversation has been a real eye-opener for me.
Too.
I thought I knew what the Pareto principle was all about.
Right.
But I've learned so much more.
It's been a really interesting exploration.
It has, and I think that's what's so great about these deep dives.
They always take you in unexpected directions.
It's not about finding the right answer.
It's about opening your mind to new possibilities.
Challenging assumptions.
Embracing the complexity of the world.
And sometimes discovering that the most trivial things are the ones that actually make life worth living.
That's a beautiful thought.
Listener, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
We hope it's given you some things to think about.
As you go out into the world,
keep questioning.
Keep exploring.
And keep embracing those seemingly insignificant moments
that make up the richness of life.
Until next time, stay curious.